Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher. Welcome to Sweetwater's Guitars and Gear. This time out, we have a first look at one of the hottest new products from NAMM. This is the AMPLIFi from line 6, and we are joined by Derrell Smith, the product owner, Clint Ward, Director of Domestic Sales, and David Seal, Regional Sales Manager from line 6, and they're going to give us a tour of what this product is all about. Thanks for coming in, guys. Appreciate you being here.
Thanks, Mitch. So listen, what we call this is the guitar amp reinvented, right? I mean, line 6 has a real tradition of guitar amps, kind of changed the world of guitar amps with the Spider, etc. Lots of innovation. You were there during those years. And instead of reiterating Spider, coming up with Spider 5, we wanted to go to the next stage, right? Okay. So we were kind of thinking in a big way about mobile users, trying to figure that out, right? What are we going to do with mobile users? What are we going to do with this Bluetooth craze, right? And then where do we take the guitar amp for the next level? So what we came up with was this very cool amplifier that's a guitar amp, a la line 6 style. Sure. Plus, it's got a totally Bluetooth speaker in it. It's actually a 5-speaker design I'm going to get Derrell to talk about in a second. Plus, we have an iOS app that gives you this revolutionary tone matching, right? Plus cloud sourcing to basically share your tones with other people as it goes on. But what I want to do is give Derrell here a chance to kind of give you the design things, kind of the challenges they had in creating this amplifier.
Okay, great.
Thanks, guys. So, AMPLIFi is designed primarily to connect your love for your music to your love for your guitar, your instrument, right? It allows you to play back music at a phenomenal quality in your home, in your living room for a party, or if you just want to jam around with some stuff on your own. What it does is it'll take a look at your music library and the music you've loaded on your iOS device, and it goes up to our cloud and pulls down relevant tone matches. So songs that have been, tones that have been professionally authored to match classic rock, modern rock tones. Now, in addition to the tone database that we've created, anybody can author a tone and publish it and share it with the community. Now, kind of like Netflix or other online services like this, the rank of tones that are published is driven by how customers relate to them, whether they like them or not. So the cream rises to the top and the garbage stays down at the bottom. And that's how we sort of maintain a quality database of tones. Okay. So now, as you know, many songs have more than one sound, right? There's maybe a verse sound or a chorus sound. So you can load up and create all sorts of sounds and just switch through them in a list here on the iPad. In addition, many of our customers are great authors or tone authors, and they really get into the nitty-gritty of how a tone is built and created. And so we've brought a very innovative editor to iOS that allows you to get in and just completely mangle, rearrange, recreate a tone so it's right for you, right for your guitar, your ears, how you relate to music. And whatever you do can be stored locally, so just you have it. You can share it with the community if you want to, put your tone prowess out there. You're welcome to share it. In addition, you can favorite the tones that are relevant for you. So, for instance, if you're a Swedish speed metal guy, right, you might not be interested in that perfectly clean chorus tone for a Barbra Streisand tune your wife loves. You might want to shred over it instead. So in that case, you could favorite your Swedish, rat-killing death metal tone, and that would come up with Barbra Streisand just for you. For the Barbra Streisand fan, they still get that beautiful clean tone. But you'll always get the death metal tone. So that's how the system works. Everybody gets unique results based on how they train and respond to the tone match results that are served up.
Right. Now, do you have to use the iPad with this, or can you just plug your guitar in? How does that work?
Great segue. Yes. The amp operates standalone. So if you're looking for very simple, pure amp for home, mess around with, kind of like if you think about, like great old vintage amps, like a Twin or something, right? You dial in at your home, you probably would never dial it in again. You just come home, plug it in, wait for that baby to warm up, and throw some notes down. Well, the AMPLIFi is designed with a similar kind of mindset. It has 4 tones built in, but really it's meant for you to just sort of dial in something that works for you and be able to get back to that in a jiffy. Also, it's great for casual kind of gigging. If you play at church or do a club gig from time to time, and perhaps if you sometimes play electric and sometimes play acoustic guitar, this is a great amp to be able to take out to sort of casual gig and get phenomenal reproduction of guitar and acoustic tones. It's also great if you're in a band and you guys are in a garage and you're trying to learn covers. You know, if you don't have a PA or a sound system, it's a great way to cue up a track and everybody to be able to access it in full range.
Right, right. Yeah, I see on the top panel here, I don't know if you can see it on the video, but we have, you've got a drive control, you've got 3-band EQ, reverb, master volume control. So you can access all that tone shaping right here from the amplifier itself.
Why don't we grab the iPad, pull it off so people don't do this, and we're going to get David to play right now, all right? And so play away, David. This is just the amp. So you can see there that at its essence, it's an amplifier.
Right.
You can plug it in and like any amp, just relate to it as an amp. You know, and then with the iOS integration, it adds a level of functionality. Now, the one thing we should discuss, though, that's kind of interesting is that some of those effects, right, we're not coming back in mono, right? So they're actually coming back in a wet, dry stereo mix.
Okay.
And this is to do with the 5-way speaker design. So we have a 12-inch Celestion, right, which is the guitar amp piece. But then there's 2 mid drivers and 2 high drivers, left and right, which gives you 5 speakers, which gives you a full range sound. So when the guitar path is going through, a lot of the wet dry mix is coming out in stereo, right? So this is when we now play back Bluetooth music or program music, right? So we play back just a standard track from iTunes, right? It comes out stereo, which at that point in time, you've got the full range sound, and the 12 inches being kind of used as your sub, as your low channel, right? Which gives it such body, right? And so any comments about that from a design aspect?
Totally. So like guitarists like Michael Landau and a lot of different touring players have used this sort of wet dry idea for a number of years. And the basic idea is your core guitar tone is coming out of one amplifier, and it might have your pre-effects, stomps and that. And then your post-effects, your kind of ambient, your spatial stuff like delays and verbs and maybe some modulations, runs through a completely independent system. And sort of what it does is it maintains the dynamism and sort of the quality of your core tone without cluttering it up with effects, while the secondary system provides space and ambience, and you run it in stereo, sounds amazing. So we've taken that basic concept and shrunken it down into AMPLIFi. So your core tone comes through a Celestion custom 12-inch driver, and your post effects come through the stereo rig and kind of give you that depth of field that you wouldn't otherwise get to.
So instead of needing 3 amplifiers, you've got it all in one cabinet.
It's all in one cabinet, yeah. And as we know, like for a lot of guitarists who gig out in stereo, it's often really for their benefit. You know, it's rare that a stereo rig gets mic'd up in stereo or even can fit within a mix in stereo. So we just cut to the chase and made it completely self-gratifying. It is for the guitarist.
Nice. Now you've got 2 amplifiers here. This is the AMPLIFi 150 and the AMPLIFi 75. What's the difference between the two?
Great. It's really wattage and size, portability. So the 75 is 75 watts. I know that worked out really conveniently. And it has an 8-inch driver and the mid-high complement. And then the 150 cranks up to 150 watts with the 12-inch custom Celestion. But the essence of their operation is the same. Obviously, the 75 is quite a bit more portable.
Sure. So let's take a quick look at how you edit a tone using the iOS app.
The app is free of charge. Anybody can download it, but of course, it will only work and interact with an AMPLIFi amplifier, right? And then what I'm going to do is just pass this on, because you see that the library comes in and it'll suck up your library. But listen, I'm going to give it over to Derrell, because Darrell's going to give you a tour of the app and some of the capabilities the app does.
Okay, great.
Lovely. All right, so I'm just looking at my music library here. Every song that's loaded on my iPad is accessible from the app. I'm going to pick something. This is a ZZ Top tune. And but what you see over here on the right side is it's gone to the cloud in real time over Wi-Fi. and it's pulled down all the different tones that it believes are related to this particular ZZ Top tune. It pulls them down in groups of 5, so you can go on and see, anything that's related. But right here on the top, I've got Lagrange verse, and I favorited it. And this is something we were talking about earlier, where I can kind of favorite tones that work for me in my guitar. If I've got a telly and everything sounds really bright, I might find a darker version of something that really makes me smile, right? So I'm able to not only favorite tones, but I can rate them. And that is my contribution to the community. The more people that rate, the more the good stuff will bubble up to the top. So I've got my tone list, and David can go ahead and play, and you can hear what this tone sounds like. So even though that's probably pretty accurate to the sound of the song, for me, I found the sound to be not quite as driven as I might like. So I'm going to start by bringing the drive up. Dave, go ahead and play this. So now I'll bring the drive up, get a little more gainy, and it gets a little hashy and bright for me. So I'm going to bring the treble back a bit here and see what we got. Great. So I'm able to select from a huge range of amplifiers. Sort of broke them into 4 categories. So we can grab something British here, go down, maybe grab, an AC30, which will give us a different quality of tone. Dave can play that. So you get that mid boxiness that you'd expect. And on this particular configuration, you're able to select your mic. The way we're kind of, the goal here was to make the guitar tone sit well in the track. Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit of a different objective than a valve amp live on stage, where you really want it to be able to cut, and your recording engineer or your live sound guy is going to be tweaking the EQ to make it sit within the mix. So we've chosen an approach that would really helps your guitar tone kind of work and match when played against other music. Okay. So you've got your kind of your mic, you got a certain amount of control over the tone, you got post EQ and compression, some of those kind of mixer kind of controls to integrate into the tone and really help get you the final mile.
Right. Nice. Nice. So very easy to dial in exactly the sound that you want.
It is. It's quite lovely. And on the iPhone, it gets real small, and I find you can just operate the whole thing with one thumb, which is very efficient. Yeah. Especially since your right hand is usually plucking strings.
Right. Sure.
Yeah. Sure. So I'll just show you just a couple more things here. With one of the things that makes AMPLIFi unique for a Line 6 product is that all 3 of the main effects blocks we call flex effects, because they can be any kind of effect that you want. So some of our previous products, you could only have 1 distortion, 1 delay, and 1 mod. Now you can have 3 delays if you want. So you can get to some of those more ambient old edge style tones where we would run, 1 delay into another. Right. But so within each block, you can go and choose your type. And we've also included some of the different synths and whammies and stuff that we've done over the years. And it's got really great pitch detection in it. So all this stuff works really well, but you can, pretty much go grab anything and put it where you want it. It's quite easy to rearrange and move things. And it's all done visually with this multi-touch interface, which is very conducive to making tones. Once you've dialed in this perfect tone that, you love and you're satisfied with, which in this case, I don't want to have the synth. Great. You can come down here, save the tone. Now, on behalf of this library, this community, we're asking you to give us as much metadata as you know. And we've also added a little feature that if you want to just use the metadata from the song that's currently playing, you hit one button and it'll auto load it all for you. Nice. But it captures your name as the author. And when you publish this and share it with the community now, it'll match, but it carries your name, so you can sort of build your rapport and your cred as a legit tone junkie.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Very cool. Very cool.
And another cool aspect about the amp, right, is that was part of our teaser campaign leading up to NAMM, was this blend thing that is on the master volume control. Right. Now, the whole concept behind that was about jamming, right? That, in typical jamming scenarios now, you have your music on one side of your room or one side of your studio and your amp on the other side. So your track is coming out of one side and you go over to the amp. When you have it blended together in one speaker, it's way more enjoyable. But we had to come up with a really easy way to blend these two, and that's what the volume knob was. You have one button click, there's your guitar volume, you go to the red, right, and that's your master volume.
So you can balance the backing track against the guitar that you're playing through it. Very nice.
Really makes it for a wonderful experience when you're jamming along with your songs.
Right, right.
So, and I'll just, to kind of tie up this notion of jamming, I know many of you, like me and others, have rigs at our home that we use to learn music or to jam along, right? And often that involves laptops and studio speakers and amps and effects units and lots of cables. And if your significant other is anything like my significant other, once all that gear begins to accumulate, I then get, it's suggested that I find my own space away from the family. I get segregated out to the man cave.
Banished.
Right, banished. Thank you. So the man cave can be a fun place to get away from it all.
Right.
But it also can be cold. You know, when you come home from work and you got 5 minutes while dinner's on the stove, if you want to knock something out. So we put a lot of effort into creating a product that would do well in most modern living rooms. And it just takes all the cables, all the mess, all that stuff right down to just one guitar cable and wirelessly connects to really kind of empower people who love music to just take those little slices of life that are available to us between this and the next thing, find a great song and just sit down and play along.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. It looks great, sounds great, plenty of power, all the flexibility and all those features you guys are talking about are really cool. We're really excited about the AMPLIFi series.
Oh, thanks, Mitch.
Thank you guys for coming in. Appreciate it very much. Derrell, Clint, David, great guitar playing. Appreciate you being here, coming in. And thanks again for sharing the AMPLIFi with us.
Thank you.
I'm Mitch Gallagher. Hope you enjoyed this installment of Sweetwater's Guitars and Gear. Be sure to tune in next time. We'll have more guitars, amps, effects, and we'll be making lots of music.